Okay, so I see that we're drinking a French Chardonnay today. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Sure, this is La Croisade Reserve Chardonnay from the 2018 vintage. This wine comes from the south of France rather than the Burgundy region, which is a little bit more well known of a region for growing Chardonnay grapes in California. It is aged in a combination of stainless steel and oak for added complexity and flavors, and is characterized by nice flavors of citrus and pear with really attractive vanilla notes from the wood.
So if it's 2018, does that mean it was picked in 2018 and then it spent about a year in oak?
It spent some time in oak. I doubt actually a whole year, and I bet they didn't use new barrels on the wine.
Yeah.
There is a certain complexity to the oak, but it's not overbearingly oaky.
Mm-hmm. So if it's not overbearingly oaky, what do you get? I feel like most Americans are familiar with the California perception of Chardonnay that's, very, very American oak.
Yeah.
What do you get from a less oaky Chardonnay?
From a less oaky Chardonnay, the fruit is going to pop out a little bit more. There's also a nice acidity structure to the wine. It's very bright and maybe just a hint of mineral on the wine. Although, at least to my palate, this wine very much tastes like a New World wine rather than an Old World wine.
How does this compare to other products at its price point?
It blows them out of the water. This is one of my favorite wines. I believe it costs $13.96 at Brown Derby, and this is one of my favorite Chardonnays for under $15 a bottle.
Yeah, it seems like that would be a very impressive price point to be competing in.
Especially for a Chardonnay that's aged in oak.
Yeah, so what would you be pairing this with?
Because of the buttery aspects, you're not going to want to pair a Chardonnay with dishes that are really full-bodied like Asian or Indian food. You're wanting to do kind of blander or rich or creamy flavors, making something like lobster a perfect pairing for this wine.
Interesting. Shall we try it?
Absolutely.
So remind me, what will the nose be? What will the palate be?
You're going to get really nice citrus flavors and maybe a hint of pear, and the pear is popping right out of the glass.
Yeah, that's a strong smell.
And then on the palate, a nice soft and buttery taste, and maybe a little bit of vanilla too.
I don't think of pear as being a very Chardonnay kind of flavor. Is that because of the terroir? Is that because of the lack of oak? Why am I getting so much pear?
It's definitely a terroir thing. The warmer it is, like in the south of France, the more ripe the berries are going to get, and then they take on a completely different perspective of fruit flavors rather than a cold climate Chardonnay.
Interesting. Well, a very tasty wine. Thank you for tasting it with me.
My pleasure.